You are listening to Fantha Tracks.
Following live broadcast is recommended by the Imperial Council in the belief that your commitment to remain upstanding citizens will be reinforced. It is required viewing for all members of the Imperial forces.
Time now for
Desert Planet Discs.
Brought to viewers everywhere in the hope that our own lives may be uplifted by the comparison and enriched with the gratitude of relief. This transmission is unrehearsed and unedited, and is hereby begun without further comment as to its lack of moral value.
It's time to spin round the rim. This is Desert Planet Discs. Star Wars music in a single file. Here are your hosts, Carl Bayless and Greg Robertson.
Welcome to Desert Planet Discs, and for this special bonus track, we are talking to the three genius minds behind one of the most legendary events in Star Wars fandom. And that is, of course, you will have heard us mention it many times on the show, #Cantina.
Many times.
So we will be joined by the organisers of #Cantina, who have some rather exciting news for anybody attending Celebration in London later this year. But of course, no Desert Planet Discs would be complete without my co-pilot, Mr. Darth Elvis himself, Greg Robertson.
Hot dang, sir. How are you doing?
I'm good. And you?
Yes, all good. Excited to be here and joined by these three legends.
Legends in their own fields.
One who has the word "the" in front of his name in capital letters at all times, because he's that special.
Except for tonight, where he's gone.
He hasn't got
not
lowercase.
all in caps. It's ruined the illusion. So he's frantically typing away now. There we go. He's fixed that. Nobody can see that, but hey, there we go. So we are joined by the organisers of the original #Cantina, and of course, coming to London 2023, #Cantina 2. And of course, they are, for those of you that don't already know, the Martin Keeler, friend of the show and curator of the Zooveum, film writer, producer, and director Jed Shepherd, and bass player from Ash and celebrity Star Wars collector Mark Hamilton. Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening. So Mark collects celebrity Star Wars celebrities.
He collects Star Wars celebrities, yeah.
Excellent.
Star Wars Santa in my back pocket. I've got, I don't know, theory in my backpack.
Do you have a Darth Cheeks though? That's the most important one for your collection.
We're not supposed to talk about what stayed in where was that?
That was the Roundhouse.
That was the Roundhouse, yeah.
What stays at the Roundhouse? Cheeks.
Can I just say I like the fact that when you did the introductions there, Jed and Mark, in fairness, film writer, director, producer, bass player in one of the greatest bands that's ever existed. But then they had that look of fear when they realised, oh my God, we've got the guy who's got the Zooveum here and there.
That's why they started with you.
Yeah. It's start high. It's like a ski ramp. I've been watching Ski Sunday today, so it's like start at the top and down.
Yeah.
But there we go. So very, very talented gentlemen in your own fields, but quite different fields. So how did you guys originally meet?
So the overall thing is like I was a big fan of Ash. Still am. I don't know why I said was. I'm a massive fan of Ash. And back in the kind of early internet days, well, not too early.
Before
social media. If you liked a band, you'd go onto their website, you'd go onto their message boards, you go onto their like chat room type things. And Mark was big at just talking to everyone he was pretty much the only person in Ash that really would talk to the fans, would kind of put out news there. So like Mark is the original Dave Grohl, basically. He like the nice guy of
But yeah, I was also like dropping spoilers. It was just like fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
And stuff, I'd be sort of like leaking it.
Yeah, it's awesome. So yeah, we're just basically like just going to all the gigs and hanging out and stuff, and then so it's been like 20 plus years or around that mark since I've known Mark like properly, and yeah, and ever since then, every now and again we do a little weird project. There's one called Slashed that gets talked about every few years. It comes up, which is this weird horror movie that I wrote for Ash, and because Ash used to have a on their DVDs that they used to release with their songs, they used to have like a little recorded segment that Mark used to film on his camcorder, and it was meant to be a 15-minute thing for that, and then it ended up being its whole thing, and now it's stuff of legend because no one's actually seen like all the footage, but yeah, so that yeah.
You showed clips of it once.
At Ash 20, yeah. Which is the main time I got to speak to Martin actually was at Ash 20. I think I've spoke to you in bits and bobs before online and things, but it was really at Ash 20 in 2012 where kind of we got to speak in. I think Martin.
That's right. It was like because you did the amazing Ash 20, which was like a full day event of Ash goodness, which had Ashioki and the showing of clips that had never been seen before of Slashed, which it's like you said all that. You haven't said the cast list of Slashed. It's incredible.
Yes.
Yeah, it's you know, all of Ash,
obviously.
Grohl, James Nesbitt. Who else is in it? Mark, Moby, Chris Martin and Johnny from Coldplay.
Yeah.
Who have main role? Ben Queller. But yeah, but it's mainly Chris Martin who's he plays Sherbet Bones, and Johnny is his psychic. Datsun Ford, that was his name, and they're going around finding this supernatural killer that's just killing people, and Ash is somehow like mixed up in all of this, and they know about it, and they get picked off one by one.
Spoiler. Spoiler alert! After how many years of a film that's not been seen?
Yeah,
but yeah. So we met predominantly at Ash 20, mainly just because we did the thing of when it was all over, I went and said thank you, which is
more people should do.
Exactly, it's a really simple way of saying hello to someone in a
which is ironically how I met Martin.
Yeah.
So there you go.
I threw some coins into your hat as you were sitting on the.
And
you said thank you.
That's it.
But actually, like Ash 20 was one of the things that kind of inspired Cantina, because doing an unusual type gig specifically for Ash, it's because I mean Mark's probably played 50,000 gigs. It's to keep it interesting, you got to do something else, and I'm sure, and Ash are actually the type of band who always do something weird. Like just last time I saw them, they did Christmas songs.
They had a Kung Fu Santa on stage in Belfast.
That's right, in Belfast, yeah. So if you've been playing gigs for all this time, you want to mix it up, and and Ash have been a band who's always been like very forward thinking with their kind of like ideas and stuff. So this is kind of a natural progression, really.
So I think for me, meeting Mark, it's like we'd met a couple of times, like we did the studio things, but it was kind of like I was sort of a fan that turned up in the right way. But there was an event.
I think they call them stalkers these days.
Stalkers, absolutely, yeah. But I think where the things changed and we become friends was when we went to the Kablamo launch party in Bethnal Green, I think it was.
Oh yeah.
And I just got back from Celebration, and it was the 4 of us at the bar, and that's when we were talking about events outside of Celebration in the evening events. And how they don't do them in the UK. And I remember Mark saying, if you organise something, Ash will play it. And I looked at Jed knowing that he'd done Ash 20. And kind of Jed went, yeah, of course we can do that. And I never thought we'd actually get around to doing it. But that's kind of where things went in a different direction. I don't know about you, Mark. I don't know if you remember any different, because we knew each other, but it wasn't like we know each other now.
But but then we sort of like, once we got started, I think you meet fans and you sort of like hang out and chat about stuff. But then once I realized that you were like massive Star Wars fanboy, then it was like, okay, we're gonna be mates.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I don't need to call security on him just yet.
Yeah.
I think whenever we were talking about Celebration, it's very much we've been go to conventions and stuff for for years, but the idea that there's like something going on in the evening is like quite often the convention's finished about 5 o'clock, and then there's like what you'll do. To have something which is like a stone's throw from the actual convention and be able to like have a proper like party event afterwards was like, because people you want to let your hair down at those conventions too,
Yeah. And you get to meet your mates at these conventions in a way that you don't normally get to hang out with your friends. So to have something to continue on in the evening and have a really good night out with your friends and stuff that you can talk about, it makes perfect sense to have them.
Yeah, I mean that's the magical thing. I think obviously you mentioned how Cantina kind of was born from Ash 20 and Kablambo launch party, but that after things there was nothing there. But you meet so many people. I mean, we met Martin, the two of us met in Germany, in Essen in Germany, and again nothing afterwards, nothing after party wise in Germany. Met so many friends at that event, including obviously podcasting pals and stuff, and #Cantina being the second celebration in London. Obviously met Blues Harvest for the first time, who have gone on to play many shows with myself personally, and Mr. Mooncat Drums, met him for the first time, I believe, at #Cantina.
That was a definite case of being dragged away by security.
That was yes, getting dragged away by security. I saw Mark Daniels try and have a right hook at you, but he saw you, Mr. Nice Guy, and he swung a punch at you. I couldn't believe it. But, the first #Cantina was obviously a huge success, and you've had a few years now to rest since that one, and returning now with #Cantina 2, set to be bigger, bolder, and more legendary than the first one. Are you mental?
We really, we actually tried to do it last year, thinking about trying to get it done last year in, where was it?
Anaheim.
But like ever since 2016, we were just like, we'd be mad not to do this again. But it was such a big undertaking, and like afterwards, it was like a big like relief. Like, phew, we've done it, and it went so well. But knowing how much work goes into it, like it's we weren't exactly rushing to do it the next year, but like as time passes and more people keep talking about it, and it's gone into legend, as you say, like it makes sense. It's back on home turf, and it'd be stupid if we didn't. Someone else would just do it if we didn't do it. So
only not as well.
They wouldn't be able to do it as well. No chance. No chance.
Let me take the opportunity to say, first of all, thank you very much for having me at the first #Cantina. I think it's the first time I've had the proper chance to sit in front of you three together. I think properly.
I've been waiting for it. I've been waiting for you to say thanks, like for like 6 years now, Greg. Like, what's going on?
That's why we haven't done one since.
Like that ungrateful Darth Elvis.
You're listening to Fantha Tracks. Flip through the galaxy of literature with Cannon Fodder hosts Brian Cameron, Matt Booker, Mark Newbold, and Mark Mulcaster.
Count me in.
Spin round the rim with Desert Planet Discs. Your musical journey through the space lanes with your hosts, Carl Bayless and Greg Robertson.
The hottest tunes this side of Mos Eisley. Hot dang!
Get the latest news, interviews, reviews, and much more on Making Tracks with your hosts, Mark Newbold and Mark Mulcaster.
Like an Ewok battle wagon out of control.
Join hosts Claire Henry and a rotating panel of guest hosts for the podcast that's full of hope. Planet Leia.
I love you.
I know.
It's time to head south with the Fantha from Down Under, Adam O'Brien.
Oh, g'day, mate. How you going?
Start your engines with Paul Naylor and Mark Newbold as they lift the hood on starships, airspeeders, swoops, capital ships, and more from across the cosmos. And for everything in one location, daily news, reviews, interviews, podcasts, video, and social media feeds, bookmark fanthatracks.com for Star Wars news 24/7, 365.
No, I think to go back to things like Greg was saying, thank you. It's so what has genuinely happened since the last Cantina is like we have all gone on, and it's like Jed's career has taken off like you wouldn't believe, probably because of Cantina, but we probably dispute that. Mark continues to be so.
For people who don't know, Jed, you should really just
you should say what you've been doing.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm current president of the United States of America, so
you got the votes. You got the votes after the 16th version. Yeah.
No, just screenwriter, producer, director, and like people know me probably best for writing Host, which is a 2020 lockdown horror movie that blew up and just went absolutely massive. And then Dashcam from this year from Blumhouse, and a whole bunch of other stuff that's happening as well. But yeah, like the film stuff has kind of gone into overdrive, and means I get to do lots of cool stuff and hang out with lots of cool people. But yeah, I love doing creative things, and I love the first one. So, and hopefully I can bring, and actually I will bring some of the things that I've learned over the last few years, maybe some of the people that I've worked with over the last few years, to make this one even better than the first one.
Would those things include perhaps large-scale props, specifically built large?
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I have like I'm not saying this is what we are doing, but like recently, like I've had Jim Henson's Creature Shop build me stuff. I've worked with the guys that build creatures and things for big streaming network shows, sci-fi shows. So yeah, and I have access to all those guys and guys who work in horror films as well, and they all would love to do me a favor. So that's what we can bring to this next one. We can bring a few more years experience, a few more people that wish they were involved in the first one, and now they can get involved because they just heard about it. And yeah, it's almost like we are still obviously. The first one was such an unknown. Like we really had to convince people that it was going to be good. This time we don't have to convince people it's going to be good. They already know it's good. We've got evidence. They went there. So this one, all we have to convince people is it's going to be better than the first. And maybe that's even harder job because the first one went so well.
So what you were saying, Jed, is that with all the access to these, amazing prop builders and production people from the movie world, that maybe the production elements to Cantina 2 will be on another level.
It will be much, much, much better than the first one. Because with the first one, we didn't have a budget to theme it as much as we wanted to. I mean, it still had an amazing vibe and all that, but it's called Cantina. You want a bit more of that Cantina aesthetic, so that's what we're going for this new one. But yeah, don't want to give away too many spoilers. And obviously, people in the meantime, since Cantina, have done their own things. There's been bricks and mortars places that have popped up with that kind of Cantina theme. It's kind of an obvious theme, but where we want to give it our own spin, we want to link it to the music as well. And suffice to say, there's lots of big surprises coming that we've got a few months to work out all the kinks.
So, Martin and Jed were the organizers of the first Cantina, and it was actually about, I would say, maybe a year and a half ago, when we were actually probably closer to 2 years ago, when we started talking about doing it again for Anaheim, and that's whenever I kind of sort of got my finger in the pie, and things didn't work out. But in a way, we just sort of, because we took a bit of a knock last year, we were even more driven to sort of make this year even make it happen. And it's actually probably logistically a lot easier for us that it's in London again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I remember thinking, if we do it again, and if I'm going to sort of jump in and sort of like help on the sort of organization of it, like what are we going to do to sort of like really raise the bar to make it like, and for me it was like, we got the line was, we're going to make this the greatest, best Star Wars party that has ever happened in history. I mean, that was the bar that we got,
because we already did that in 2016. So now we have to make an even better one. So we've set ourselves, with a real high bar to leap over.
That's it. And of course, London's hosted the Olympics since then. So London has this, big extravaganza history. So all we've got to do is the Olympics opening or closing ceremony, but Star Wars themed. Piece of cake.
Yeah.
Piece of cake.
Well, I aimed for the Star Wars. Do you know? I think we have got one missed opportunity. We should really record the planning meetings that we have as sort of a release after the event. Because you can imagine, you've got Mark and Jed, who are two hugely creative individuals. I like to think I can be quite creative, but my job here is to, how do we actually land things? And like each meeting starts with, I've had this great idea. Let's actually do it in space. But
let's actually do it a long time ago.
That's
in the galaxy far right.
But in fairness, that's where the good ideas come from, because you start with that vision, and then you work out the doable, and you go from there. But I do wish we'd videoed some of these calls, because
I mean, we've still got a lot of planning to go. So
So was the gig originally going to be performed live from the top of the O2?
The roof.
On the roof.
You know what?
We thought of a few
about
things, didn't we? Yeah.
Yeah. Because again, originally for the 2016 one, like we didn't have a budget. We really didn't. So we just managed to gaffer tape everything together, and it came together so incredibly well. Better than because I promised myself I wouldn't drink until Ash were on stage, because at that point I knew everything was okay by that point. Like, if I've had a drink before Ash goes on stage, then something's gone wrong. So and it was, and I think it was only the next day, and I thought, oh my god, we did something absolutely spectacular. That I've never been to a gig like that before in my entire life. I've been to a lot of gigs, and it was spectacular. And we are definitely going to top it this time. We are definitely going to top it. So if you are in London, even if you're not going to Celebration, but especially if you go to Celebration, you need to go to this, because everyone's going to be talking about it, and you'll tell people you went to Celebration, and they'll just assume you went to Cantina because everyone's going. So
that was
one of the things we hit on earlier was like the heightened production elements. There are going to be things at this party that will be all over Instagram, because they're gonna be like those photo op, like, oh my god, did you see that? Like opportunities that you're gonna like, if you see these pictures and you're like, oh my god, I could have been there and I didn't go.
Yeah.
Don't be that
moments.
Don't be that person.
No, FOMO.
It's going to be an evening of moments. That's what we're aiming for.
Well, going to the first hashtag Cantina back in 2016, going to Celebration on the Friday morning, it was all anyone was talking about.
Yeah.
The main organizer at the time of Reed Pop stopped me walking through the convention and said, I wasn't there, but I've heard nothing but the buzz from everyone who was at the gig last night. It sounds like it was off the hook, and you blew the roof off the place. And that just continued the whole weekend. There was people walking about, Cantina t-shirts, still spot the Cantina t-shirt. Our celebrations, Ash gigs, you see the hashtag Cantina t-shirts popping up, and whenever I wear my one, I get stopped and I go, that's an amazing t-shirt.
I love that t-shirt.
The rival schools get a spin off.
Yeah, I got stopped in Lille wearing one. I'd been to Disneyland Paris and we were swapping trains, and someone in the station just went, I know where that t-shirt came from. That was an excellent night. And they didn't know it was me. If you know what, anyone, but
I am way better at Photoshop now, because I think I did that design in like 15 minutes. So I am way better at Photoshop now. So I'm going to do better. And like Mark does a lot of the designs for Ash's stuff as well. So this time, and My favorite thing at the moment, well, actually for the last 5-6 years, going to gigs, and it's the merch. I love. You've got the guitar pick.
Yeah.
I love merch because you know what? Like we take photographs on our phones, and that's the memory. We almost miss the gig because we're too busy taking photos on our phones. But if you get a T-shirt, that memory will last longer because it's like an interactive experience. Because it could be 20 years down the line, you put that T-shirt back on, and you were right there at the gig. So I think merch is really important, and we didn't realize how popular those T-shirts were going to be. So we didn't make enough. We didn't make nearly enough T-shirts. And we know like people wanted those T-shirts, so we're going to make sure this time we are adequately covered for those T-shirts, and also give more options as well, so that it's not just one T-shirt. And
I remember the guy at the end.
I want more Cantina T-shirts.
I remember the guy at the end who was a 2XL who bought a small T-shirt just because he wanted the T-shirt.
Yeah.
Picking up on what Jed said, I think the other thing as well is the merch, certainly T-shirts, becomes, as Martin sort of said as well, becomes that conversation starter then of, I was at that, it was brilliant, and you strike up a conversation, you know, and that's the sort of thing that will hopefully happen, you know, during celebration, but you know, then for years to come.
So looking back then at the first hashtag Cantina, what are your sort of favourite moments or memories from the first one?
I know what Mark's is.
Hold on a second. What was our favourite moments from the first Cantina?
Yeah.
Probably mine was like my daughter was there. She was there for the weekend. She was at celebration all weekend. She was only around 7 or 8 at the time, and she was dressed up as Rey. She was really into Star Wars at that time. I mean, she's moved on. She's not really interested right now, but you know, these things go in like phases and whatever. But she was really into it, so she got to meet like some of the, you know, the actors. She met Daniel Logan there, and then during Cantina itself, she came on stage and with like a lightsaber that we had, this little choreographed lightsaber fight that we'd worked out in the garden. And like in the middle of Kung Fu, one of our songs, sort of, I had like a Kylo Ren helmet on, and she came on, and I sort of like fought with her for like about, I don't know, 45 seconds or so, and then she defeats me on stage, and then got like the cheer from the whole crowd. And she was quite young at the time, so by the time we were on stage, probably was like getting close to like 10:30, 11 p.m. But so she was tired, but then when it came her moment to get up and do it, she got it. She did it well. So that was sweet.
That was great. Yeah. That was good. Mine was, there's 2 bits. It was the Star Wars crawl that came on in between the bands, multiple times during the night, where I'd written like a narrative of the night, and I think it was about Rick from Ash getting kidnapped by someone or other.
No, it was Ash had got kidnapped.
Ash got kidnapped. Yeah, it was playing with, maybe they won't play at the end because like we've got to find them basically. And then as soon as the kind of like orchestral stabs come in, everyone would rush to the screens, and like we witnessed people at the bar, and then they would like rush back into the main room so they could see what the rest of the story was. So I loved seeing that. And then also I think it was the cocktails, because obviously we had Star Wars cocktails. Now everyone does it, but I feel like we were one of the first ones to do it, because those cocktails were genuinely lovely cocktails. They tasted real good. And again, I didn't have a drink until Ash came on stage, so I made sure I had every single one of those cocktails as soon as Ash arrived. I was like, okay, now I had it waiting for me, and so I love those cocktails.
So for me, there was a particular moment which it was I would say a personal moment, but it was what sticks in my mind was, you can imagine I was high anxiety all night, and Darth Elvis were playing at the time actually, and I kept having to walk.
I can see why you had anxiety.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh no!
And you
again.
And you were in the middle of doing Akbar, so you had Admiral Akbar on stage,
great,
rocking out. And there was a guy called Andy Napier, who I'm good friends with now, but I kind of half knew beforehand. and he was stood to the side, like there was a bar to the side of the stage, and he was stood there, and he was just like mesmerized. Okay, so I went up to him and just said, "Everything all right?" And he just went, "My eyes are telling my brain something, but my brain doesn't believe it." And I thought it was like the best compliment I've ever had about what that night was about. And that's kind of when I went, okay, it's working really well.
That's brilliant. Yeah, because that's like it. I mean, we organised it, and I was just like, what is going on? This is way better than we thought. And like, don't forget that we had like just the actual venue, the Brooklyn Bowl inside the O2.
It's a bowling alley.
It has a bowling alley down the side, so it was already very, very surreal. Like just with people like bowling, like in costumes and stuff, and just everyone very merry. It was so good.
Greg's friend Roddy posted a great picture, which was him bowling with Pam Rose while Ash were playing in the background.
Nice.
And he just said, "I'm not sure tonight's happening," or something.
Have we even? Actually, I just thought about this. Have we even said what day the Cantina 2 is on?
9th of April.
9th of April.
Sunday, 9th of April. So that's the date for everybody's diaries.
Yeah. Celebration.
It's available.
Tickets, at the time of recording, tickets still available.
Yep, just about at the you want to go to the AXS website. That's www.axs.com. Look up hashtag Cantina, and you'll be able to buy your tickets there from the Indigo at the O2, which is a superb venue.
Yeah, and do you remember last time, like outside the venue, we had stormtroopers just like just checking people down the queue, just herding people in like into single file.
I was
brilliant.
second in the queue.
Nice.
Yeah.
So here's one of the things I'm really looking forward to. On the assumption the same thing may happen again this time with the ticket checking. Elton John's playing at the arena.
Yes, I saw that.
Is.
And if anyone who knows the O2, you have to walk past the Indigo to get to the main arena.
Yeah.
So I'm loving seeing all these people who are going to turn up for Elton John, not knowing there's a Star Wars event going on. Suddenly,
getting confused.
Maybe they'll bin off going to see Elton John and go to Cantina.
Probably. I wouldn't blame him.
Yeah.
Are you looking for a Rocket Man? You've got a Rocket Man here.
At this stage, obviously, one of the things that's been a mainstay of some of the events sort of since then has been guest stars. We can't confirm that Elton John will be appearing with Ash at this stage.
But we're not going to deny it either.
But we're not going to roll it out either.
Yeah. But that's, I mean, not Elton John, but that's.
Mark was trying to say something there. Go on.
Go on, Mark.
Speaking of special guests, Jed, you might want to divulge something about this.
Ooh.
Me?
Yeah.
Jed's going to get up on stage.
Yeah.
Oh, I'll definitely get up on stage at some point.
Oh no, I can't remember because before we started, Martin was saying what we couldn't say.
Yeah.
Maybe Martin should say what we can't.
Don't want to get in trouble.
Okay, so what we agreed to say is we are in contact with a number of people about doing things. We have a couple of people confirmed who we haven't announced yet.
Ooh.
What kind of people are you talking about, Martin?
Star Wars people.
To recap, for anybody that's not been to either the previous Cantina or sort of celebration events, Blues Harvest and Darth Elvis played at Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Star Wars luminaries on stage that night included Jet Lucas,
Vanessa
Marshall,
Taylor Gray,
not Taylor Swift,
the Mystery Porg,
the Mystery Dancing Porg, who has still not been unmasked.
Correct.
And who knows, may make another appearance.
It's not much good me doing a shrug on a podcast. Those people listening, I'm doing a shrug in a kind of maybe way.
Yeah. Audio shrug.
Yeah.
We haven't really.
I probably should have said, because that's, Jed's gone on to be I've got to go back to what Jed said about his career. This is the real difference between Jed in 2016 and now. When you were interviewing Jed in 2016, he would have been saying, well, there's a possibility I'm working with X, and there's a possibility I'm working with Y, and there's a possibility I'm working with Z. You can tell he's really successful now because he's actually going, I can't really tell you I'm going to be working with, but I've got lots of things going on. That's how you know someone's really made it. Is that fair, Jed?
Yep.
But so the thing I went on to was although I've not done the Cantina thing, I've been working with other people to bring entertainment to some of the events that have happened at some of the American celebrations. So I've played a smaller part in that, but very proud of that. But that's why Blues Harvest and Darth Elvis have done a number of other gigs post then. And as you say, it's become a bit of a tradition to get people up on stage to help out. And why would we break that tradition?
Indeed. In fact, I don't think we've even discussed the lineup for Cantina 2 yet, have we?
Which is kind of really important.
Which is kind of really important. We've implied a lot of it, but there we go. So, can
I just say, Carl, this is a good link in, because this is a hangover from doing it in 2016, whereas Jed said we were like hobbling it all together as quick as we could.
Yeah.
And we basically couldn't say anything about anything.
So
So we've noticed we're still in that kind of mode that it's like, we're going to be careful what we say. And actually, we can say about the entire lineup. No problem.
The whole lineup has been announced. So, do you guys want to go through who will we be seeing on the 9th of April at the Indigo 2?
Well, it's very, very simple. It's the exact same lineup as last time. Because if it ain't broke, like, don't try and fix it. So we played around at some additions or some different things, but we just thought it's the tried and true classic lineup. It's like when Coke tried to do new Coke. No one wanted that. People just wanted the original Coke. So we're bringing you the original Coke once again. At Cantina, the original Cantina, because this is the thing, people were so sad that they missed out the first one. We want to give them the chance to actually try and relive that again, and it's just such a good time. It's just such a good time.
The likelihood that lineup will happen again is probably not.
It's zero. Yeah, pretty much. Due to certain people kicking, like stopping what they're doing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes. So
I was going to say, why go and see Goodbye Yellow Brick Road with Elton John, where you're going to see The Last Hot Dang by Darth Elvis at the Indigo?
Exactly.
I'm going to be a crying mess.
Yes. So, for those of you that haven't heard or seen any of the posts, Greg has announced that he will be hanging up his jumpsuit for live performances. Don't worry, folks, there will still be plenty of Darth Elvis material coming your way. But for live gigs,
public
live appearances,
I've already been for a private gig.
Yeah. It's the Cantina rap party.
This feels like you've opened an OnlyFans account.
Yeah, he has.
That's Darth Cheeks. Darth Cheeks OnlyFans.
Darth Cheeks has got his OnlyFans account. But no, so this will be.
Shall I spill the beans on the lineup, because we've still not said it? So I'm going to say it really.
Sorry. Go for it.
I'm going to say it really like punchy and bunk. So we got Blues Harvest with Darth Elvis. So Blues Harvest, ironically, when they first did #Cantina, they were doing really well, but I think they've really gone on to, they're a bigger, better band, and you've seen them improve each time. They were awesome the first time, so they're amazing now. Mm-hmm. Darth Elvis, amazing. Like I say, last ever gig. Why would you want to miss the last ever live public performance? I think we're going to put a bit of effort into that as well. We need to talk to Darth Elvis about how he wants to go, because it can't just be a finish and.
Oh yeah.
Darth Elvis has left the building.
Absolutely. From a DJ viewpoint, and I'm building up here, you've got Level Up Leroy, who actually is new to the event. We didn't have him last time. Level Up Leroy, anyone who goes to conventions in the UK will know who he is. He's an awesome sort of mashup of Comic-Con, Star Wars. He specializes in with videos and stuff that goes with that. He's amazing. And then for people who go to Celebration, you've got DJ Elliott, who you will all know as the guy who's the warm-up for the main stage and has been, I think, for the last 6 or 7 celebrations. He's a staple part of it, and he doesn't often get to DJ in the UK, actually doing his DJ thing, which he does more of in America. So for him to be doing a full set is going to be a thing to see. It's going to be incredible. And then, of course, so we can make Mark blush, you've got the Mighty Ash headlining. And and absolutely knocking it out the park. As to quote Nick Brockenshire from Blues Harvest, I said to guys earlier, when you go, it's just hit after hit after hit after hit after hit, which is always the pleasure of Ash, because you've seen him, like Jed's seen him about 1,000,002 times. I think Jed's actually been to more Ash gigs than Mark.
I think I've seen. I think genuinely I have seen. Maybe I've missed 1 or 2, but I've seen every single London show they have pretty much ever done. Maybe it's up there. It's up there. But that talking of Ash, are there going to be any surprises in the set? Are you going to do a classic greatest hits, which is amazing, or are you going to throw in some surprises?
Well, funny you should say that. There are some songs which we haven't played for years.
Ooh.
That we've done recently.
Mm-hmm.
That we will be doing. Well, actually, I'm just gonna say we haven't played Clones for years. Can you remember? Did we play it at the last Cantina?
No.
Yeah, you did.
No, they didn't. No, they absolutely did not. Because
no way.
That was one of my. Oh
yeah.
No.
Do it because it was always a song we did as a 4-piece, but then we played a 3-piece. But let's just say we can do it for Cantina 2, because there will be someone helping out.
Yeah.
Hey.
Yeah, you can definitely say that.
Who you'll not want to miss. So we'll be playing Clones from Republic Commando.
And it's not Charlotte. It's not Charlotte, by the way, in case you think it's Charlotte. It's
someone who Martin hinted at earlier, a Star Wars person. But so for anyone who doesn't know, Clones was, I believe, the first time Lucasfilm actually licensed out music that wasn't John Williams. And that was whenever Activision did Republic Commando game way back in around 2004, 2005.
Yeah, I went to the opening of that game, that gig you did, Mark, in London.
Yeah, like a weird, yeah. So that was like, for us, that was a dream, because we had obviously done things. We'd done things with Lucasfilm before. Like we played at the Phantom Menace rap party, which was, we got invited to do that by Ewan himself, because he had done a voiceover for like a tour movie we had made, and we went down and hung out with him whenever he just finished the voiceovers down in Soho in London. And he was like, the next day, and we were just like hanging in the bar, and he said, "Oh, in 2 days' time is the rap. We're wrapping up the Phantom Menace. Do you want to play at the party, the rap party?" We're like, "What? Are you serious?" It was like almost like,
nah. Sorry, we're busy.
Yeah, so like we dropped everything to do that. That was pretty incredible. That was off on a tangent, but yeah, we'll do Clones with like a special guest, and we've actually talked about, well, there's a lot of ideas going around for special songs which we haven't done before,
and I think
which would sort of link into sort of the Star Wars and Celebration and stuff. We obviously had we probably are going to open with like a TIE fighter that leads into a certain song, and
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
From our point of view, we don't want it to be just another Ash show. We're going to try and make the set list so that we incorporate as many like moments as possible that will tie into like the whole evening and what's going on.
Cool. Can I request that you play Starcrossed, please?
Wow. I think.
Oh no,
you haven't done Starcrossed in a long time.
Yeah.
It's got the word star in it, so you know.
Got the word star in it, yeah.
Yeah, you got to do There's a Star as well then.
And it's awesome.
It is great.
Yeah, but if you say "and it's awesome" as the criteria for playing a song, it'll be a 7-hour gig.
Well, yeah. There is that. There is that.
So I think that's one of the areas, though, that Mark was saying where this is Cantina sort of plus. because last time, in all fairness, it was, I think, Jed's in a different place he's worked in before, but I was just a bit overwhelmed that Ash were headlining. So it wouldn't in a million years have occurred to me to sort of reach out and say, oh, do you fancy doing things? It was Mark who said, let's do the lightsaber fight. It's like, yeah, that'd be brilliant. Whereas this time we're all actively involved talking about how do we make this night as special as possible? How do you make it, as Mark says, what can we do to bring these moments in? And that's really going to boost it.
When we have our creative discussions, that's whenever Martin mostly says, you can't do that. You can't do that.
Health and safety.
Health and safety.
They hear me say quite a lot.
So if you want to see Martin on the night, he'll be the one walking around with a clipboard and a high vis jacket.
Oh yeah. Yeah, he'll be like Mr. Mr. Britas from the British Empire.
Yeah.
Checking things. You can't do that. But no. Obviously, everything will have to pass the health and safety checks of the venue, of course.
There's a number of things that Martin said we can't do that we're just going to do anyway.
Yeah. I've got plausible deniability. That's all that matters.
Yeah.
As long as I can find the notes that said Martin said we shouldn't do this, then my conscience is clean.
Hi, this is Vivian Lyra Blair, and you're listening to Fantha Tracks.
But yeah, the other exciting thing is like coming up with new cocktails as well. I know I'm going on about the cocktails a lot, but the bar at the Brooklyn Bowl, that was their biggest ever night at the bar. They made the most money they've ever made. They were incredibly happy with us. They did not expect that ever. So,
do you remember the feedback we got? Was the guys at the Brooklyn Bowl had the O2 management down, and the O2 management said you need to be doing more nights like that.
Yeah.
Nice.
Unfortunately, the Brooklyn Bowl doesn't exist anymore, or we probably do it again.
Well,
Brooklyn Bowl.
they just realised they couldn't repeat.
Yeah,
they said,
that's it. They tried to do more nights like that, and it just couldn't cut it. So I thought, why are we even bothering?
Well, actually, in fairness, they've asked us to do it in New York a couple of times.
Scary thing is, this venue now is 3 times. Is it 3 times bigger?
Yeah, it's just under 3 times bigger. It's which is
beautiful venue, absolutely beautiful inside. So
that's another reason I'm incredibly thankful for having me back for #Cantina 2. #Cantina to this day, 30 years of gigging, multiple different bands is still my favourite gig ever that I've played anywhere.
Thank you.
Which is why #Cantina 2 was announced. My head was in 2 ways of, well, am I going to keep going? What am I going to do? I was like, this is the perfect way to go out. #Cantina 2. That was the favourite gig ever. #Cantina 2 is likely to be on the same par, if not better than the first one, and it's the perfect way to go out. There was a reason I was getting to something, and I've totally forgotten what I was going to say.
You were going to say, because I know what Greg's really happy about. He's going to be performing on the same stage as Prince.
That is exactly why. Yes, Prince performed there back when he was doing the 31 nights at the Indigo at O2, and I still kick myself for not going to go and see him in the Indigo afterwards. But I was staying at my brother-in-law's house, and I didn't want to turn up too late, so I didn't go. But to stand on that stage is just like, wow. So thanks again for that. Thanks again for the first one. It's still to this day my favorite ever gig, and has brought me closer to the 3 of you. Obviously, loved it, and that's the standout for me is building a bigger relationship with Mr. Keeler and becoming better friends with the 2 of you as well. So it's just the gift that keeps on giving. #Cantina.
If it goes really well, great. If it goes really well, and do you think there's a chance that you won't quit the live performance? If it goes really well, you're there, the adrenaline's pumping, everyone's shouting your name and begging you not to stop what you're doing. Would you keep going?
If there's a #Cantina 3, possibly.
Okay, good.
It's funny. It's funny. I obviously I made a big deal when I announced I was giving up, and I sort of said this will be my last public live performance because I want to keep the door open for with you and McGregor pops over and says there's a rap party in 2 days. Darth Elvis is available. I've already been booked for my first private gig after hashtag Cantina, and it's I think a couple of years down the line, but I won't say what it is. But it's not a rap party, I'll put it that way. But I can't say no to it, so I can talk about it offline. But yes, I think. I think, but there'll have to be a big change in the way I'm doing things. I think before I do anything else. I think, but yeah, I'll never say never. There's like Martin rightly said when I said I was giving up. There's always the comeback special.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah.
Never say never. But I'll need to fit into the leather jumpsuit to do that. So
The comeback holiday special.
yeah. Ooh, I like you saying that.
That's good. That's good.
On a life day special.
There we go. There we go. So, thanks once again, guys, for spending some time with us this evening. To recap for everybody, hashtag Cantina 2, the Indigo 2 in London, Sunday, April the 9th, during celebration. It's just a short cab ride.
No, it's not. You don't want to get a cab. You got the Skyway.
You got the Skyway thing that goes over the River Thames.
Who stops you on the underground?
Yeah, get a boat there. Pretend you're James Bond. Get a speedboat over or something.
It's ridiculously close, and you want to go to the O2 anyway.
Yeah,
like you don't want to go all the way and not go to the O2. So this is perfect because you get to get your pictures outside this iconic.
Yeah,
venue.
and go Elton John fans. I'm going to a better gig than you.
Do you know? I'm going to put some. I don't want to say put some money on this. That sounds dangerous. I would be amazed if it doesn't get referenced at the Elton John gig if anyone involved with that show sees the people outside.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Because it's the kind of thing that someone say, "Did anyone notice?" all those characters. As you
absolutely.
I would love it if there was an Elton John tantrum on stage about stormtroopers
harassing his fans.
The
bloody Empire.
Stormtroopers stopped his Interflora delivery. But
yeah, so like I say, get the tickets from, like I say, you can look up the o2arena.co.uk or com, I'm not sure which one it is now. AXS, search for hashtag Cantina and you'll find it in there. Basically, you should be able to get tickets really easy. And what we haven't talked about is the VIP tickets, which we really should say, because that's the other thing that we've undersold a little bit. So this is a special reserved area in the Indigo where you get special seating on the first tier of a balcony called the King's Row. We've advertised it as having a unique badge, pin badge, and a lanyard, and you get your own private entrance into the Indigo as well. So you'll feel special and be treated special. We're probably going to build that up a bit more, but we haven't announced it yet. So those people who've already bought VIP tickets will probably be very pleased. But
it's like a potential. Am I breaking the rules by saying there might be like an after party?
Well, we're talking about such things. We haven't locked that down, but there is a possibility. But there'll certainly be more than we've just advertised. So this is the theme of the evening. You're going to get more than you think you're going to get.
Yeah, Martin's doing an hour stand-up set just for the
super.
So
you can help me with the health and safety assessment, everyone. Come on,
that's it.
You're part of the show.
Here's a bin bag. Help clear up.
Can we get Martin dressed as Adam Driver in that Saturday Night Live sketch?
Oh, Matt the technician.
Matt the technician.
Yeah.
Get you dressed like that for the night. Yeah.
That's now happening, people. Yeah, that's now going to happen. So
the VIP tickets, we've kept fairly quiet about them. They sold reasonably well. Well, they sold very well, very quickly, considering we've kind of just sort of went, oh yeah, there's a VIP option. But they're probably the sleeping giant of the ticket sales, I would say.
That's the thing. When people find out what's going on, I mean, yeah, it's going to be crazy. But just the general tickets are also very, very, very amazing. And again, we are completely underselling a lot of the things that's going to happen because we want it to be surprise. Just like the first one, people just turned up because they thought, okay, this will be a nice place to have a drink for celebration. But this time we aim to really, really, really surprise, and lots of amazing photo opportunities and things to make people jealous who weren't there.
And an amazing ticket price, for the concert. With the lineup you've got, the amount of entertainment, it's a really, really good price for tickets.
I've heard that some of the other entertainment which is going on different venues and different nights of celebration are extremely expensive for what they're getting.
Yeah, we're way cheaper and better value as well because there's more stuff going on. So if it's a choice,
although it sounds like we're doing a hard sell, genuinely because we're fans. We're not doing this for this isn't sort of our day jobs at all, as you probably picked up from everyone. So one of the key things for us is to keep the price affordable. Yeah. This is about people coming to the event, not about how do you make as much money from an event as possible. And people will ask about the money. I'm sure there will be something charitable involved in it, but we've not said anything yet because we've got to sort everything out. But this isn't sort of a money-making venture, which is why the tickets, including all the fees, which the fees are like huge on venues like this. It's £42.90 for a ticket for all of that.
Yeah,
that's your.
And I mean
ticket.
That's reasonable for a regular gig.
Yeah.
If you were accidentally going next door to see Elton John instead, you're probably talking 2 times, even 3 times.
Well, I saw Duran Duran. I love Duran Duran, but tickets for the sort of Golden Circle thing, which is where I'd want to be, was say like 350 quid per ticket, and I'm like, no.
Yeah, you'd want Simon Le Bon to take you home for that.
Yeah.
Well,
sounds like you're getting a golden shower or something. The Golden Circle.
That's where he wants to be. Don't kink shame him.
There you go. And of course, you've got the Facebook page as well.
Facebook, Twitter, Instagram.
This is Cantina.
TikTok. I've even opened a TikTok thing. I don't know if we're going to get dancing on it.
Please say you're going to be dancing on it.
No, I'm not.
The website. So it's either look up #Cantina
the
or
website.
Cantina. Yeah, the website. This is cantina.com.
Oh, old school.
This is cantina.com, yeah. So, and that's got all the information, got a bit about each of the bands, links to tickets. So if you can't remember anything we've said, just check out the website. This is cantina.com. Everything's on there. We'll keep it up to date with different things when we can, and maybe we'll put some guests on that when we're allowed to. But yeah, it's going to be absolutely insane.
Yeah. Well, as a punter at the first one, so I didn't know any of you guys, it was one of the highlights of celebration for me. And I'm not just saying that because I'm now speaking to you. But yes, I remember drunkenly stumbling into Martin and going, "Are you Martin Keeler? Oh, this is brilliant. Well done, mate." And ever since then, he's avoided me. So,
it's because you didn't address him as the Martin Keeler.
Exactly, yeah.
I didn't know then, did I? I've learned. I've learned. But yeah, so thank you once again, guys. We'll be mentioning and keeping people up to date on all of the podcasts, Making Tracks, Desert Planet Discs, and any of the other shows that deign to mention it. And of course, across the website at fantatracks.com and across all of our social media as well. So stay tuned for more information. We will also be doing a second podcast talking to some of the artists that we'll be featuring at #Cantina2. So stay tuned for that. And I say thanks again, guys. We're really looking forward to it. And if we don't see you before, we'll see you in April.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Cheers.
Cheers then. Bye.
Thanks for listening to Desert Planet Discs. If you want to stay part of the action and up to date on all the latest Star Wars news, check out the Fantatracks app via the App Store on your mobile device.
You can contact us via email at radio@fantatracks.com. Comment, like and share on any of our social media feeds at Fantatracks, and be sure to subscribe. Leave a review, preferably a 5-star one, on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, or your podcatcher or smart speaker of choice.
Don't forget to head to fantatracks.com/radio, home of Fantatracks Radio, and follow us on our social media feeds at Fantatracks, and bookmark fantatracks.com for all the latest in Star Wars news.
Coming up next on Fantha Tracks Radio, it's The Fantha from Down Under.